Hey guys, it's Shurfrousky here. I wanted to cover the stat changes from TBC to Wrath. Here, I got a Wowhead article that explains the changes, so I'm going to go over this with you guys and summarize what it means. I'm sure some of you already know this, so hey, you're Gucci. Thank you for stopping by. But if you don't, or like to get your news in video format, then thank you for also sticking around, and let me dish it out for you. So yeah, let's jump on in. Alright, so first off, healing and damage done by spells will now just be converted straight into a flat spell power. So here you can see, increases healing done by 550 and damage done by 183 for all magical spells and effects. With the new stat changes, it's just increased spell power by 293. So no more gear with just healing and damage, now it's all clumped into one. So really nice and convenient, a good quality of life update. This will also make it a lot easier for gearing up, healing and damage dealer caster classes. So now you don't have to search for healing gear and damage gear, it's all just lumped into one. So let me read this last paragraph part of this spell power section, it's pretty interesting. So it says, while spell power applies to gear and some buffs in games, such as Totem of Wrath, increasing damage and healing of raid members, healing done by spells is still on your character sheet. This is a notable from healing talents such as Nature's Blessing or Resto Summons, which will only increase healing done and have no effect on spell damage. Right, so these buffs, so you can still get buffs that will only increase your healing and not your spell damage. So that's still a thing. Next is spell hit rating to hit rating, spell haste rating to haste rating, spell crit strike rating just to spell crit strike rating to crit strike rating. So here you can see with this piece of gear, increase spell hit rating by 27. On the update, it's just hit rating. Spell haste rating, now just haste rating. Yeah, so basically with this, spell hit and melee hit is basically now into one stat, right? Which is just the normal hit rating. So that's going to be good for, Death Knights, probably Enhanced Shamans, any other class that can benefit from melee hit and spell hit. So now, before you'd have to chase either melee hit or spell hit and decide which one you want to get was more important. Now it all gives you one, so is it again another like kind of quality of life update. And, of course the same for haste, right? Before we had like this normal melee haste and spell haste, now it's all clumped into one, so both would be improved on whenever you get haste in general for your melee and spells. And of course, again, same with crit rating, right? I'll read the last paragraph on this one again too, because it will show you the difference with how the buffs work with the stats as well. So while hit rating, haste rating, and crit rating from gear does apply to both spellcasters and melee, all the previous stats are still present on the character sheet. This is important because many buffs and debuffs in the game only apply to melee or spellcasters respectively. For example, when Fury Totem only benefits melee haste, Improved Fairy Fire only benefits spell hit, and Leader of the Pack only benefits physical crit, right? So same thing. The buffs will still kind of be specific to a certain stat, right? Like melee hit or spell hit or haste or melee haste or spell haste or whatever, but the stats are consolidated. All right, next we have attacks ignoring armor to armor pen rating. Obviously this isn't really surprising. I think we always just kind of called it armor pen anyways in game, right, for most of us during TBC, but here's the actual specific change you can see, right? So with this piece of gear, you get your attacks ignore 182 of your opponent's armor. Now it's just increases armor penetration rating by 26. So basically just kind of changing the way they probably word it and calculate it out a little bit. So here, let's read this sentence in this paragraph because it explains how the armor pen rating changes in the system itself. So it says the new rating system will be a scaling system where instead of a piece of gear reducing the target's armor by a flat amount, like i.e. 182 armor, it will now be percentage based, changing as your character levels. So now the armor penetration rating is percentage based instead of just flat, digits. And here, let's also check this out too. I read the bottom of this. So for example, at level 70, you will need 5.92 armor penetration rating to ignore 1% of the target's armor. By 80, this number jumps to 13.99 armor penetration rating. The same percentage of armor ignored system will even apply to armor debuffs in raids, so both exposed armor and Sunder armor will ignore 20% of the target's armor, assuming there are 5 stacks of Sunder. So again, of course, when the higher level you go up, the more armor penetration you'll need. So whatever armor pen you get from the gear you have now, it's going to kind of degrade over the levels. So you'll have to get more of it. Yeah, and I guess maybe the difference is when it comes to the debuffs, it will be the same amount of armor penetration. Like it's saying, exposed armor and Sunder armor will ignore 20% of target's armor. Well, I think in TBC, the improved exposed armor was definitely way better than just the normal Sunder armor. But that probably isn't the case now in Wrath. Either of these will be the same amount of armor penetration. Alright, next is the feral attack power. Here, to just take a look at the gear, it shows now, basically it's like a new stat that you can see for druids, right? So, haste rating is the same, attack power is the same, but now with the update, they added this new kind of stat section. You can see it says increases attack power by 831 in cat, bear, dire bear, and moonkin forms only. So going into Wrath, druid players will start to notice feral attack power on any item that can be equipped. Only druids will see this stat from the items in game tooltips, right? So, if a warrior looks at this item, they're not going to see this little extra stat right here saying how much attack power it increases in your, cat form or bear form. Only the druid player will see that, which is pretty nice. Another good, quality of life update. All right, guys, and that's all the stat changes going into Wrath. So I hope this is helpful. Hope you guys understand the changes better for the expansion. Should make gearing up a little more easier. So yeah, if you like it, like the video. If you want to see more stuff, please subscribe. Of course, it always helps out. And other than that, I'll see you guys next time. So adios, muchachos.